Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at the Blacephalon deck with which Shintaro Ito almost won the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships. He was in line to be a two-time champion, but unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, he fell just a little bit short. Now, for those of you that don't know Shintaro Ito, and you should, he is the one that won Worlds in 2016 with Mega Ordino, which I still attribute to really making the channel grow as much as it has up to now. But I've featured a bunch of videos of his decks in the past, like that time he crushed with Charizard, the Spiritomb Hooper deck that he made, and a whole bunch of others. I've put a bunch of links to his previous decks in the description. Go check him out. He is awesome. Just because he fell down at the last hurdle does not mean this is not a phenomenal deck made by a phenomenal player. And he did it all with Blacephalon. And look, Blacephalon is a deck that we were expecting to see this weekend. This was not some kind of giant, oh my goodness, why would he play that surprise deck? But make no mistake about it, his was the best version of Blacephalon. It's the only version that made it into top 8, and somewhat obviously, it's the only version that won Worlds. And it is all built around Blacephalon GX. Now, Blacephalon GX is a really good Pokemon, and it's got a couple of attacks, but the main one is Mind Blown. For minimum 2 fire energy, you get to put any amount of fire energy attached to all of your Pokemon into the Lost Zone, and do 50 damage for each energy put in the Lost Zone. For newer players, Lost Zone means it is not coming back. It's not like the discard where you can go and just get it back with some other cards. And you can get rid of 1 energy from Blacephalon and 1 from each of 4 bench Pokemon, or just whack 5 energy on Blacephalon and Lost Zone them all. And the reason this is so gosh darn good this weekend is because this has been a weekend that has really been dominated by Tag Team GXs. Pikachu and Zekrom, Reshiram and Charizard, Mewtwo and Mew. These have been the big decks this weekend. Now, to be fair, we have seen a little bit of play and love for some weird Oranguru Pidgeotto stall deck, which has been around. But really, this has been a weekend for Tag Team GXs. That is what has really dominated this weekend. And firstly, you give up 2 prizes, Tag Team GXs give up 3. And secondly, you can one-hit KO them all. Something like Reshiram and Charizard does 230 damage. It's not one-hit KOing Tag Team GXs. Something like Pikachu and Zekrom does 150 damage. It's not one-hit KOing Tag Team GXs. But you are. Now, it'll take you 5 energy for Pikachu and Zekrom, 6 energy for the others. But you can get that one-hit KO. It's huge. That's why it's so good. Now, you need ways to get all of the energy, and there are 3 ways that we can do that. First of all, we play Naganadel. Naganadel's got a phenomenal ability that allows you to attach a basic energy from the discard pile to itself. Now, you can attack with Naganadel, but that's not really the point. You accelerate an energy from the discard pile to Naganadel, and remember, when Blacephalon attacks, you can Lost Zone the energy from anywhere. So leave it on Naganadel, Lost Zone it when you attack. We also have the item card Beast Ring. Now, you can only play this if your opponent has 3 or 4 prizes remaining, but if they do, you get to search your deck for 2 basic energy and attach them to one of your Ultra Beasts, where you're basically playing Naganadel and Blacephalon. So, fine. Go for it. You're alright. That'll get the energy on quite nicely. And then we have Welder. Welder is a phenomenal supporter that's really dominated this weekend, and it allows you to attach up to 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Does not have to be a fire Pokemon. And you draw 3 cards. So between Naganadel, Beast Ring, and Welder, you should be getting all the energy on there that you need nice and quickly, and taking one-hit KOs on Tag Team GXs, which means that you're putting your opponent in awkward situations. They're having to muck around trying to get a KO with something like Turtonator, which they have to pile energy onto, and that can't stay around for very long, just so they don't put a free prize Pokemon into harm's way. That is why Blacephalon has been so good this weekend. It is because you've got the opportunity to trade 2 prizes for free. It's good in a GX heavy format. It's phenomenal in a tag team GX heavy format. Now, there are a couple of other Pokemon that really were crucial to success, and they were both brand new. They both came around in Unified Minds. One of them was the new Naganadel GX. Now, this Naganadel GX is great for 2 reasons. First of all, it's got the amazing ability Ultra Conversion. Once during your turn, you may discard an Ultra Beast from your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. It's a draw engine. Drawing extra cards gives you an advantage. Now, the other thing that this deck really had was Ultra Space. This was your favourite stadium in the deck. And what Ultra Space did so well was it let you search for an Ultra Beast and put it into your hand. Which means that you can always have an Ultra Beast, as long as there's one in your deck, ready to discard with Ultra Conversion and draw 3 cards. But the deck also played a single solitary copy of Psychic Energy. 1 copy of Psychic Energy, that was literally it. But what that allowed you to do was use the attack Venom Shot. 1 Psychic, 3 colorless energy, discard 2 energy, do 170 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And though there are many different targets you could go for, the primary one here was Dedenne GX. You play it onto the bench, you discard your hand and draw 6 cards. It was really the Pokemon draw that so many decks used this weekend. But we didn't have a lot of gusting. We lost stuff like Guzma to the rotation, so dragging it off the bench into the active to KO it was far more difficult. Most players were just using Custom Catcher, but you had to play 2 of them at the same time. It was really awkward. And then, of course, you could only get it working twice per game because you had to play 2 at a time. But that wasn't an issue with this deck, because you just used Naganadel. Now, sure, some decks were playing Mew that would block it, bit of a pain. But any deck that wasn't playing Mew that was playing Dedenne, you had a huge advantage. It wasn't the main part of the strategy. You only played a single Psychic Energy, although remember, Beast Ring can get it out fairly easily. But it was a great backup option. And actually, worth pointing out, Ito did play Dedenne GX himself. It is just that good at getting you rolling. The other attacker that you had here was Heatran GX, and according to the commentators on the official stream, he actually played 2 copies of this. Now, this starts off with the ability Burning Road, and the ability Burning Road, once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to become your active Pokemon, you may move any number of fire energy from your other Pokemon to this one. You can just move the energy over as much as you like. Cool. Only when you flick it into the active. And free energy 130's actually really good at taking out those non-GXs. Things like Turtonator that your opponent might try and use to put the prize race in their favour, this gets a really super easy KO. But you've also got Hot Burn GX, minimum 1 fire energy, and it does 50 damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. So this can be a really good end of the game smasher. If your energy's all over the place and you don't have 2 energy on any one Blacephalon, just move the energy all over to Heatran, and you can do as much damage as you like. Your only other real GX attack in this deck is Blacephalon. Discard a prize card. If it's an energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon. And it's fine. If you get down to 1 prize remaining, Blacephalon's GX attack is stunning, but it doesn't get you a big KO. So you've got Blacephalon's GX attack if you want to be a little bit cheeky and take a prize, and you've got Heatran for taking a big KO. Now, a quick note about energy. It was largely fire energy because of Welder and Blacephalon. But there was, like I said, a single copy of Psychic Energy just so you could use Naganadel, and with it being an Ultra Beast deck, you would play 1 Beast Energy, and Ito did, does an extra 30 damage to your attacks, and when it's attached does count as a Fire Energy anyway. Means you can sometimes get away with lost zoning 1 fewer energy in order to get a KO. Now, in terms of trainers, I've already mentioned Ultra Space for Pokemon Search, but you also had Mysterious Treasure here. Lets you discard a card from your hand and search for a psychic or dragon Pokemon. Doesn't get Blacephalon, but it does basically get everything else. In a format where Pokemon search is not very good, having Ultra Space and Mysterious Treasure is pretty great. And while we're talking about Pokemon search, we shouldn't forget that Ito was also playing at least a couple copies of Cherish Ball here, because it lets you get that Blacephalon, which is pretty gosh darned important, as well as Naganadel. I've already mentioned how good Beastring and Welder are for getting energy, and I mentioned Custom Catcher, and obviously Ito played Custom Catcher. You have to play Custom Catcher. In this format, it's too gosh darned good not to play it, and you've got some draw engine with Naganadel, which makes it more likely that you're going to be able to draw into that double Custom Catcher when you actually need it. Speaking of draw power, there was also a single copy of Heat Factory Prism Star. Lets you discard a fire energy from your hand and draw 3 cards. You kind of need to be able to. Now, in terms of draw, there was a single copy of Lily. Lily isn't exactly what this deck needs. This deck needs Welder. So yes, there's a copy of Lily, and Lily's fine, but only one because stuff like Welder is good. Although worth pointing out that yes, like every deck, of course he played some Cynthia. We even saw him playing Hapu in the deck, which lets you dig through that little bit more aggressively. The fact of the matter is, this deck really revolves around Blacephalon. Being able to get a one-hit KO on anything you like, with great energy acceleration, and the new Heatran GX helped, and the new Naganadel very much helped. I mean, when you put that combination of draw power together with that attack that can take out Pokemon on the bench, it really may well have been the difference between this deck getting as far as it did and not. Unfortunately, Shintaro Ito did not quite make it all the way to become a 2-time world champion. Incidentally, his deck list is on the screen because it was published on Pokemon.com. Cheers to those lovely people. And I'm a little bit sad about that. I loved this deck. I wanted Ito to become a 2-time champion. If for no other reason than I still feel incredibly grateful to him for helping my channel as much as he did. Though take nothing away from Henry Brand, a great player with a great deck who thoroughly deserved to be the world champion. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, a very good deck, a very good player, falling just a little bit short. But I'd love to know what you think about this deck, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.